Greetings. This is Dr. OG here. I wanted to share with you today some evidence-based principles on how you can stay healthy. This talk is how to stay sane and not deranged in the quarantine. This is a self-care action plan that you will receive today in a concise way. And I promise you, if you follow this self-care plan, you will have more health, more mental health, emotional health, more physical health, and you're going to generate dramatically more happiness and joy in your life with this plan that I'm going to share with you today. And some of you may be wondering, well, what makes you the expert? Well, when it comes to self-care, I would like to share that my time as a medical student, and you can see there, Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, and my time in Mayo Clinic as a resident, and also my time, you see up there just above me, my honorable discharge from the US Navy, my time in the service, in residency, in medical school, and as a father to three beautiful children. These different life experiences have made me develop a self-care plan that will keep you sane and not deranged during these very, very challenging times for all of us. And I want to share a recent publication in the AAFP, Caring for Me is Caring for You. It's coming out of Dartmouth from Dr. Peepas. And this is an article to help with the problem of physician burnout. But we know that it's very tragic situation that's happening to physicians. One doctor a day on average is committing suicide, taking their life because of the stress, the burden they face as healers. And physician suicide is higher than any other occupation in the world. But the principles that I'm going to share with you here will apply to any occupation, whether you're a physician, a stay-at-home parent, doesn't matter your occupation, doesn't matter if you are currently unemployed or furloughed. I promise you that if you follow this plan, it will be transformative for you. This social ecological model of health and well-being and what we can do, we know we're getting a tremendous amount of stress from the global pandemic. There's stress coming at us from our communities with different issues, homelessness. There's different stressors in our organizations, or employment or unemployment, or we're being furloughed. We've always had these stressors, and we have stressors such as, from families and relationship. But us as an individual, we're carrying this burden. It's the stress of the world on our shoulders. But there's 12 different things you can do to empower yourself to deal with this incredible amount of stress, this pressure cooker that we're constantly dealing with, more so now with COVID-19. I'm going to actually focus in this talk on three things: time management, mindfulness, and celebration gratitude. I'll focus on these three practices that you can do every day that'll have a transformative effect in your life. And then you, at the individual level, you will be the change that you want to see in our community, in our society, and in the world. That's what Gandhi famously said. You can be that change. And that's what we're going to focus on today. When it comes to stress, as I mentioned earlier with my credentials, I've experienced the whole gamut of stress. Here's a picture of me in 2003, 17 years ago, when I was an intern at the Naval Hospital. I was on call, post call, working 80, 90, 100 hours a week. But one thing that always kept me grounded was coming home and just connecting with my family and this is something we can do during this quarantine, as we can connect with our family. But I want to say this. I gave my wife a mug that said, "Stay at home wife, the toughest job in the Navy." For those of you stay at home parents, that really is a stressful job, a demanding job. So, this talk today is not just going to be for physicians, but it can also be applied to stay at home parents. This infographic is a very nice one that came out from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine recently. And we all have heard about drinking adequate amount of water, staying hydrated, socializing during this time, not relying on alcohol for stress, honoring our emotions, listening to our body. But it's interesting, keeping our routine, that's a very powerful thing. Actually, it's an ancient thing coming from Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the science of life. And when we keep to a daily routine, we actually balance all our hormones in our body. We actually regenerate all our cells. We detox. We actually produce all of the neurotransmitters for optimal health. And we are in tune with the supreme intelligence of our body, the circadian rhythm that promotes health. When you're out of balance with your body's rhythms and circadian rhythm, it creates disease, it creates premature aging. So that's one of the reasons why I want to focus on time management and our daily routine during this quarantine. This is a slide that all medical students have to review, and it shows stress. But I want to separate this into two types of stress. There's the stress that we have on the conscious level, and we feel a stressor. But then there's the underlying subconscious stress. When we experience this stress, it interacts with our entire body. So we get the stress that comes in through our central nervous system, and every single organ system is impacted. In our central nervous system, our brain, we get anxiety, depression, we get degeneration of our neurons, we can get heart failure, hypertension, we can get peptic ulcers, gastritis, etc. It can even affect our reproductive organs, and we can get irregular menstrual periods, we can get hypogonadism in males, low testosterone, etc. 80% of visits to the PCP is because of chronic uncontrolled stress. Interesting thing, I was jogging with a really good friend of mine this morning, and he said, "No, I don't have any stress. I don't have any stress." And then he was jogging with his phone, and he stopped in the middle of the run to respond to a work email. And he says, "No, I don't feel any stress." So many people tend to deny the amount of stress that we are under, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. We all are experiencing some level of stress in our lives. And what's fascinating to me to note is that the ancient seers and all traditions have recognized that there is this chronic stress that affects our lives, that has a ripple effect in everything that we do. The shamans called it mitote, 1,000 voices speaking in our minds at the same time. In Vedantic tradition, it's the Maya, the illusion. And in the Bible, there's stories about how stress, really the worrying, causes disease. So we have known about this for years, and now it's just at a new level with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I shared this slide last time, but I'll briefly review it again. This perceived subjective stress. We start thinking about the past. We start perseverating about the past. We start ruminating about the past. And it's a ghost of the past. And that creates depression. Then this perceived stress, subjective stress, we start projecting into the future. We start fantasizing about something that hasn't happened yet. We start catastrophizing about something. And that creates anxiety and panic. And studies show that the present moment awareness is where the only place that happiness is found. And the default mode network of the brain, 50 to 80% of the time, our mind is wandering around and literally making us crazy. Our body gets bombarded with the catecholamine stress hormones, and then we get these inflammatory cytokines that are released in our body. And these inflammatory cytokines cause premature aging. And these are also implicated in the cytokine storm that we will discuss in just a few slides. One of the most critical concepts that I would like you to understand is that one of the things we can do to deal with this chronic uncontrolled stress that can be conscious or subconscious is practice mindfulness. When we're mindful, we have moment to moment awareness without judgment. We have more peace, serenity, joy in our lives. If we don't practice this, then we're going to have really the drunken monkey mind, as they call it. And here's the critical concept that many people don't understand. Many of my patients, many people start meditating and they experience this mental merry-go-round, as I call it, and then they quit. They stop meditating. They say, meditation is not for me, doc. But here is a critical concept that you must understand. Practicing meditation in the morning and experiencing this is normal and expected. Even the Dalai Lama experiences this sometimes during meditation. But through regular practice, then our life, I like to say, becomes our playground. We can have fun. We can witness everything that happens in our lives and experience more joy. If we don't practice mindfulness in the morning, then our life is actually a battleground. There's a lot of stress and turbulence. So that's a critical concept. And I asked the question, do you want your life to be a playground or a battleground? It all depends on the transformation you make within yourself. And are you going to practice mindfulness and meditation on a daily basis? Now, when we practice mindfulness and meditation on a regular basis, we see here from the slide I shared last time, meditation has anti-inflammatory effects. So we're able to reduce these inflammatory cytokines that are in our body. And COVID-19 has been implicated with all of these markers of inflammation. So the cytokine storm is happening in young, healthy people. And they're not dying from the virus. They're not dying from SARS-CoV-2 virus. They're actually dying from their own immune system attacking their body and causing heart failure, liver failure, kidney failure, causing multi-organ failure. So if we practice a daily meditation practice, we reduce our inflammation. If we do get sick with COVID-19, then our immune system can appropriately respond and destroy the virus. So that's a critical concept to understand. And in this way, we can protect ourselves. So I shared with you the positive effects that meditation has on the micro level, the DNA level, genetics. But one of the most fascinating things, in my opinion, is that meditation on the macro level, the behavioral level, is incredible. When we meditate on a regular basis, it causes behavioral changes, positive behavioral changes. So you become the conscious choice maker in your life, and you get to control your health destiny. Let me explain what this looks like. So in daily life, we are bombarded with stimulus. And let's just use hunger as one of the stimuli that bombards us on a regular basis. So if we have hunger and we're in a place where there's junk food and then we can go for healthy food, a lot of times the stress causes us to lose our center, and we go and we engage in unhealthy health behaviors. And this is what I call a mental prison, reactionary living, robot. And it's like a knee-jerk response. There is no space to choose our response. On the other hand, if we harness that willpower muscle with a daily mindfulness and meditation practice, when we are confronted with any stressor, we become a witness, we become a conscious choice maker, and we choose the healthiest response, which is represented here by an apple. that healthiest response could be just not responding to a stressful situation and just staying quiet instead of, blowing a fuse. So that's what mindfulness does. It makes you a free human being. And in any situation, you get to choose the highest response with self compassion, self love. And during this quarantine, instead of going to the refrigerator, overeating, snacking nonstop on junk food, you take pause and you choose what's healthy for your life. That's the power of the daily practice of meditation. So, the question that I ask you is, what is your medicine? Is your medicine a regular daily practice of meditation? Are you connecting with family and friends? Do you have a regular prayer practice, poetry, music, journaling, diet, and exercise? Or are you like many, many people that I'm seeing on social media and speaking to patients? Are you falling back into bad habits? And are you gonna gain the quarantine 15 pounds because of, there's medicating ourselves with this is it's basically poison. We're medicating ourselves with drugs and alcohol, junk food, toxic relationships, being more sedentary, gaining extra pounds, impulse shopping, binge watching, etc. Is many, many people are doing this during these stressful times. But you, because you are a master of your health destiny, you are in control of your actions. If you do the plan that I'm recommending for you today, you will be happy and healthy and joyful during this quarantine. And this is how you master your health destiny. I've in a previous blog, I've talked about this extensively in exquisite detail. You can visit my most recent blog, but I want to highlight a few things just as a summary because this is so important. Your day starts. Your day starts when you lie your head down on the pillow. So the sleep warrior, when they lie their head down on the pillow, that's the beginning of your day because that's when you start getting restorative sleep, restorative deep sleep. I recommend, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, you want to start the process of sleep, get at least 8 hours of deep sleep. Then the first thing in the morning, you want to train your brain to enjoy the mundane. Pick 3 new things you're grateful for. It rewires your brain to highlight joy and the positivity and abundance in your life and dramatically increases happiness. Then you want to do a loving kindness meditation practice, which is grounding, nurturing, and healing. Functional MRI studies increases your brain cells. And in my blog, I give my favorite meditation step by step, and you can refer to that. Then each day you should engage in 45 minutes to an hour of vigorous aerobic exercise. Could be a vigorous walk. It's going to increase your VO2 max cardiopulmonary fitness. It's going to lower your biological age, and it's going to allow you to be protected from COVID-19. So if you get infected, you're going to have a strong and healthy heart and lungs. And as we know, most folks who have healthy cardiopulmonary fitness do not succumb to COVID-19. So this is one of the most important things you can do for your protection. And if you're doing 8 hours of work, I recommend a standing desk and really monitoring your steps. You want to get at least 10,000 steps every day. Plan your meals. Don't succumb to the pressure and the stresses of like eating in a reactionary way because you didn't plan. Plan 3 healthy, whole food, plant-based diet meals. And I would say avoid snacking. Just don't snack. Because if you snack, you're going to be snacking mindlessly, and then you're going to end up gaining more weight because of these calories. So just avoid snacking. Then we're left with 4 to 5 hours in this plan to really do something that makes your heart sing. Do something you love. Get out of that pressure cooker of time, that endless to-do list. You don't want to get caught up in the endless to-do list that creates more pressure, that taps into that reptilian brain and the fear of death, not enough time. Do something every day that gets you out of that time crunch. play music, do some writing, connect with family, journaling, etc. And these things will tap into that relaxation response and allow you to be happier. In summary, to master your 24 hours, just remember the remedy. Dr. OG recommends a cup of tea. What's tea? Tea is this mnemonic that will help you remember the practice. Your thoughts are going to be the monkey mind, the mental merry-go-round. So you're training the monkey mind and that default mode network through a 10 minutes of formal meditation practice. That's what you're doing. And you're training your mind to focus on the present moment, which is the only place that happiness is found. And then the E is your emotions. You can have emotional turbulence and you can have that negativity bias. Well, you want to shut that off with the simple 2-minute gratitude practice where you're training your brain to enjoy the mundane and you're highlighting all the positive in your life and dramatically increasing joy and happiness. But let's just say your thoughts are incredibly restless. Let's just say you have a lot of emotional turbulence. And that happens to many, many people. But you are going to remember this because this is the most critical thing on this whole talk. You are in charge of your actions. You are a master of your thoughts and emotions because you're just going to witness them. It's called metacognitive awareness. You're going to be aware of your thoughts and emotions and you're not going to act upon them. You're going to act at the highest level with kind action, self-compassion, self-love. You're going to take care of yourself, self-care, which is the best thing you can do for yourself and for others. I like to close with a slide of my companion animal, Mo. I have another dog as well, Jackie O, that they're just so healing. Our pets are so healing because they're with you and they're enjoying your presence with nothing else. And Mo has a special memory, a special message for all of us. This message actually summarizes the entire teaching that I gave today, and he does it in a way that's memorable. So the bow wow says, bow to the now, because the now is the wow. So let's break that down just very briefly. When you bow to the now, you are witnessing the present moment. You have moment to moment awareness without judgment, which is mindfulness. So you're bowing to the now, you're being present. You're getting out of the past and the future, and you're focusing on the present. And then you're realizing that now is the wow. Basically, you're saying every single moment that you're aware of is a wow. So you're training your brain to enjoy the mundane. We see that in small children. We see that in our companion animals. They're happy with all the little things in life. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And like Albert Einstein said, there's two ways to view the world. One as if nothing is a miracle, and one is as if everything is a miracle. So what is your choice? I'm sure I know what it is. And the next talk I'm going to present on YouTube, I want to give a talk on what specific foods you can eat to help build new brain cells. So we're going to focus on the foods you can eat during this quarantine that are going to sustain you, and you're going to be healthy, happier, and maintain a healthy body weight. And then the other thing I would like to discuss in the next video is what type of fast, what's the best fast that you can do? In other words, in terms of not eating? So I'm going to talk about fasting, and I'm going to talk about specific foods. They're going to help your body detox and regenerate and help DNA repair. And all these things are going to actually help prevent you, if you contract COVID-19, how to stay healthy and not succumb and decrease the morbidity, mortality that you'll have from contracting this bug. But it's not just for COVID-19, it's for any infection and any chronic disease. It'll protect you against those as well. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Until next time.